is going on, everyone? Welcome back to TTP Sports. And to finally get into some Sixers talk, it's not the best way to start the season, going 0-2 in the first game on Tuesday against the Boston Celtics, and they dropped the game in the final few minutes here in that fourth quarter after coming back in the game against the Milwaukee Bucks, but they end up falling. James Harden misses a layup at the end of the game. Probably should have got a foul called him, but also you can argue it's also good defense there by Drew Holiday from the Milwaukee Bucks. And it's just, I don't know, it looks off right now. And maybe that's to be expected because you made so many offseason additions, especially for the bench. You also had PJ Tucker for the starting rotation. Maybe there's a little bit of, a chemistry thing that this team needs to build. And also maybe it wasn't the best case scenario that you're going up against two top tier teams in the NBA in the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks in the first two games. So maybe that doesn't help for yourselves to build some chemistry there. But then also Joel Embiid does not look right in these first two games. If you go back to the game against the Boston Celtics, he had 26 points, 37 minutes, 9 of 18 from the field. And going into this game against Milwaukee, he only had 15 points. He really struggled in the second half especially. And if you go, between the second and the fourth quarters tonight, he had 4 points and he was 1 of 12 from the field. Joel Embiid looked completely off. He looked lethargic. He looked a little lazy. Maybe he was getting a little bit frustrated out there to, when things aren't open for him, when he's not getting his way. He just looks a little frustrated in these first two games. He looks like not competitive. Now, do I expect Joel Embiid to be like this throughout the entire year? No, I don't expect that at all. But then also, he does need to be better. He definitely does. But maybe that also works into, this team trying to, develop some chemistry overall. And maybe that's one of the issues that they're trying to figure out right here is working that new type of chemistry. Even though James Harden in these first two games, he looks good. He looks really good working out in the offseason, getting more in shape, working on his game. He really wanted to, gear up for this season, and he's looked absolutely brilliant in these first two games. He's been here to play. If you look at the game against the Boston Celtics, 9 of 14 from the field, 5 of 9 from 3, 12 of 12 from the free throw line, so perfect there against Boston. 8 rebounds, 7 assists for 35 points total. He was amazing against Boston. If you go to the night against the Bucks, 31 points, 13 of 24 from the field. Didn't shoot as good from 3. 1 of 7 went perfect from the free throw line, 4 of 4. 8 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. He was a +5 on the court, but when Joel Embiid was on the court, he was a -10. So Joel Embiid not getting back there defensively, just looking, basically sluggish right now. And that's one of the major, I would say, concerns right here to start the year. But I don't know. There's going to be a lot of things, Philadelphia fans are going to overreact to these first two games, but then also, you're going to get the discussions with Doc Rivers and everything like that. So there's a lot of things that you could possibly talk about in these first couple of games. It is really frustrating just as, it's frustrating with the way they're started because there's a lot of, hype surrounding this team coming into this season, a lot of aspirations to try to go out there and win the championship. So with the way that they are starting right now, it maybe isn't the best look. And the way that Joel Embiid is looking right now, not the best look. But Tyrese Maxey in the first couple of games, in the game against the Boston Celtics, he looked solid. 21 points in 38 minutes, 8 of 16 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3, 3 of 3 from the free throw line. So he was solid there. And in tonight's game, he had only 15 points. He didn't hit any of his threes. And he went 6 of 13 from the field. Tobias Harris in the game against the Boston Celtics at 18 points, 7 of 14 from the field, 3 of 6 from 3 today against the Bucks. 9 points only for Tobias, 4 of 10 from the field, and 1 of 4 from 3. It was just basically a lot of ugliness today, especially on the offensive side. James Harden was really the only person that was able to get things to fall. And if you're looking from guys off the bench, really no major bench contributions ever. You got House Jr. out there, but then you also got, D'Anthony, you got Melton out there trying to contribute 9 points off of the bench. He only had 5 points off the bench in 21 minutes in the game against Boston. So bench right now definitely looks like it's struggling to start off here as well. So there's something that you have to look at as well. But I think that also goes to, building off that chemistry, trying to figure things out with, a lot of these new faces, the new rotations and everything like that. What is the bench rotation going to look like with a couple of starters out there? We've been seeing Maxi rotating out there with a few of the bench pieces as well. Same thing with James Harden. But right now, I think the primary focus is going to be on Joel Embiid because he's been struggling in these first two games, and he especially struggled tonight in that second half. If you look, basically Giannis was able to do his thing in this game, 21 points, 9 of 16 from the field. He basically was just Giannis this entire game. Drew Holiday. Offensively, this game was ugly for both sides. Starting rotation, Giannis was the only guy from Milwaukee to break 20 points. Lopez had 17. He kind of killed you today. Allen had 12. Their bench, Portis had 11 points. And their bench definitely played better than your bench overall in this game. It was just shooting-wise. From the three-point line, you were only 20%. From the field, you were 43%. So overall, it was just very ugly. It got close till that very end, They managed to tie the game up. They can't find a way to take the lead. James Harden maybe throws a three up there that Doc Rivers didn't like in those final few seconds. And then during the final few more seconds of the game, James Harden driving the rim, tries to go up on the basket, gets a good look, and the ball doesn't fall through. And maybe you could have called a foul there on Drew Holiday, but the refs did not to. Maybe you can say it's a makeup call for, not calling it out of bounds on the Sixers, because that one out of bounds play like a couple of seconds before it, when the Sixers set that ball up, it kind of looked like it went out on Maxi, but they gave it the Sixers ball anyway. So there's a lot of things. I'm not going to, overreact. I don't think there's a reason to overreact after these two games. I think right now, Joel Embiid will be better. It's really good seeing, there's positives definitely to take out of these two games, and I think the biggest positive right now is James Harden with the way he is playing. He looks fantastic with the way he facilitates on the floor. He had 9 assists in this game. The way he's shooting the basket, the way he's getting to the free throw line, drawing those fouls like he normally does. James Harden in his first two games has looked flat out fantastic. I think Maxi's going to get better as the season goes along. Same thing with Joel Embiid. I don't think he's going to be this poor the entire season. I think right now it's just basically that they're trying to, find that chemistry. But, if these things start to, spiral into something out of control, then you're probably going to have to take drastic measures. And who knows how long the leash is right now for Daryl Morey to make any, type of major moves. I doubt he's going to do anything after an 0-2 start. Things like that happen. Like I said, with, them trying to build chemistry and everything like that, you probably got the worst hand dealt to you from the scheduling with the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks in the first two games. Even though this game was definitely winnable, you probably should have won that game in the end, and you didn't come out on top. There's still positives, definitely. But Joel Embiid right now concerns me, even though I do think he's going to get better as the year goes along. Right now, he just looks like he's not well, I wouldn't say not interested. I would just say lethargic. Looks like he's moping all over the place again. He just doesn't look right now like Joel Embiid. Maybe he's getting frustrated out there on the floor. It was kind of the same deal in the preseason, but I don't know. I think it is going to get better as the season goes along, but overall, I think it just, I think it's going to take a little bit of time just to build this chemistry. Who knows how many more games? But if you're looking at the rest of the schedule for the Sixers, maybe that can, ease up a little bit as the schedule goes along, because the next game they play is going to be on Saturday against San Antonio. Then they got the Indiana Pacers on Monday the 24th. Then they got 2 games in a row in Toronto, a Wednesday and a Friday. It's basically a 4-game road trip right here. Then a Saturday the 29th in Chicago. October, Halloween in Washington, basically a home and home right there. Then they come back at home, play Washington, New York. I think eventually, the chemistry is going to find itself there. PJ Tucker, he's basically just going to be that hard-nosed type of player that gets in your face and does all the little things defensively and all that stuff. He's not going to be a guy that gets, major numbers on the scoreboard. We all know that. He's basically there for, the physical presence there defensively, be that gritty type of player. Something that the Sixers definitely didn't need. But we got to see how basically everything pans out. And that's basically right now all that we're looking for at this point. First 2 games, James Harden looks amazing. Tyrese Maxey, like I said, I think he's going to eventually find his stride again, even though he doesn't look bad whatsoever. I just think, you're going to get those games where Maxey takes over. And then eventually, I think, Joel Embiid's going to snap out of this funk, because he's too good of a player to be on this, bad stretch for this, amount of time. But is there something, maybe lingering that we don't know of? That's something that you got to wait and see until, you hear something about it happening. So right now we have no idea what's going to be happening at this point. It's basically just a wait and see process with this team. Basically, that's all it is at this point. And I want to see if there's anything on Twitter about Joel Embiid, maybe in the press conference or something like that. Him talking to the media about everything about the game. So if I could find everything, I don't think reporters right now, I don't see anything from Keith Pompey. And I don't see anything about anything from the press conference. I know Harden talked. I'm not sure about Embiid. And I don't see anything on Twitter right now. So I'm not even, who knows? Who knows? Right now, they're off in the first 2 games. Maybe it's something to do with building chemistry. I think they'll figure it out. James Harden looks amazing. Joel Embiid's going to figure it out and everything like that. So I don't think there's any room for panic. There definitely is. It's an 82-game season. They got 80 games left. They're going to figure it out. They're going to be a playoff team. We all know this. Even though at this point, regular season doesn't matter for the Sixers. It really depends on what they do in the playoffs at this point. But right now, I think they're trying to build something here. They're trying to find that chemistry, find, the right, combinations. So we just got to wait and see how everything pans out. I think we all know it's going to pan out in the end. I don't think there's any room for panic at this point. So basically at this point, just a wait and see process with this team. Just got to wait and see. We got Joel Embiid. Right now, I think he needs, he just looks a little off. I think that's the issue. I think that's the issue right now with Joel Embiid. Just looks a little off. I think he'll find a stride, though. I think that's basically what it is at this point. So it's going to be a little bit of a shorter stream today, everyone. So I'll look at the live feed right here. I see Mr. W. Philly Sports on a decline recently. Go Union, though. Even every Embiid fadeaway fell short, it seemed. He's close to back. Just needs to get a good game or 2. Then the momentum should take it. Yeah, basically. Right now, it feels like nothing's falling for him. And maybe that's why he's getting a little frustrated. But when things start to fall for him, I think he'll get into that groove once again. So that's basically where we're at. So thank you, everyone, for joining tonight's stream. We'll definitely follow up the next time the Sixers play. I know right now everything is so hard. It's hard with the recaps and everything because Phillies are taking the priority right now because of, playoffs and everything. I would love to talk about Sixers and Flyers more. But, the Phillies, they just take so much of the attention. It's just, it's kind of hard to, do, when the Sixers, Phillies, and Flyers play on the same exact day. It's kind of hard to do 3 recaps. So we're going to have to figure this thing out right now, basically until the Phillies end. So, and I think Saturdays, more 3. I think the Phillies, Flyers, and Sixers play it all on Saturday. So we're going to figure it out, the process. But hey, all Philly teams are playing at the same time, and it feels nice. So do not forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. I like to see those as always. Do not forget to drop a like on the video. Do not forget to check out everything in the description. Paint Alliance BrodesMedia. Same thing with hitting the subscribe button. I recommend that. It's a great thing. Hit that. Join the TTP Sports family and also use the code TTPSPORTS. $20 off your first purchase at SEATGEEK. Great deal on Pass It Up. Thank you once again for joining the stream tonight, and I will see you next time.